Hello and happy new year, my friends. It is such a gift to be with you here today. I'm joining you from Baltimore, Maryland, where it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's been the new year for half a day now. I'd love to know where you are. Where are you joining from? Where are you joining from in the world today? And would love to know if you've been here before or if this is the first time you're joining me in this Permission to Be Human practice. Today is going to be a special practice because it's the New Year practice. And so we're going to have the opportunity to go deeper into understanding what it is that you'd like to leave in 2023 and what it is that you want to take with you or create in this new year ahead of us. And how might we be able to give ourselves more permission to be human in the process of doing that? Right? How can we give ourselves more grace, more compassion, more love? How can we treat ourselves the way we would our best friend or someone that we love deeply? How can we start to cultivate more of that in our lives? Whether that's something you've been doing for a long time or this is your first time even considering it, you are in the right place because this practice is all about meeting you where you are. All right, good to see from a bunch of you. William joining from Charlottesville and Richmond, first time. Awesome. Happy New Year. Janet from Oakland, PA, first time. Amazing. I love these a bunch of first timers. And Michelle from the UK, Happy New Year. First time here too. Okay, awesome. Love that. I'd love to hear from anybody else who wants to share where they're joining from. Oh, Liz. Liz is not a first timer. Good to see you, Liz. Happy New Year, my sister. I'm so grateful to be in this practice with you all today. One of the things that I typically do in this time of the year, which you probably are too, perhaps that's why you showed up in this practice today, but it's a great time to really pause and take some inventory on the last 12 months and what it is that you'd like to do with that information as we move into the next 12 months. One of the things that I like to say is that I actually don't believe in this whole concept of like new year, new me. I'm really into it being a new year and being more me. So what does that mean? I'm not becoming a new thing, right? I am becoming more of what I've always been, but perhaps didn't have the permission for myself to truly express myself that way, right? To be more of myself where I'm not concerned with other people's opinions or judgments or fears of my own or criticisms of my own. And to step into being more authentically who I've always been, but all of these years of domestication have put layers and layers on that need to have time to dislodge and loosen up so that I can be more me every time I get to learn more about myself. And in these practices, like we're here today, this is a wonderful time to get to know yourself more deeply. So thank you for choosing that with me here in the new year. So Jill's joining from Wisconsin. Orsolia, I hope I said that right. What a beautiful name. Happy New Year from Spain. I love it. So fabulous. So I wonder if you would play along with me. I had asked my partner this question yesterday. I said to him, if this was this past year, 2023, was a chapter in your book of life, what would be the name of that chapter? What would be the name of that chapter, right? Was this the kind of thing that felt like you were at your highest highs or you're experiencing your lowest lows or perhaps everything in between? Was this a year of being at the peak of a hero's journey or maybe moving through some of those first stages, maybe still in some of those stages before you get to that place? I said that if this year was the name of a chapter in the book of my life, I would call it Rising from the Dead, something like that. Because this year was filled with just extreme circumstances that gave me the opportunity to address major trauma, major wounds, major unhealed pieces of myself that I didn't realize that were still there, that I thought I had done the work. And so it gave me this opportunity to move through the cycle of suffering and victimhood and really deep, dark depression, going into places that I really were scary to be in. And now being here and coming out here in the end and being like, whew, I am back. I am back to myself. I feel reconnected in ways that I never could have if I didn't go through that extreme and experience those very low lows and realize that actually this too shall pass. And I get to take the wisdom from those wounds into this new year and to release any lingering residue around it that would be holding me back from truly feeling this new layer being taken away, so that I'm more me. So I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I'm looking at your comments. Oh, Phyllis, great to have you here. Yeah. Taking care of business, transition time. I love that title, Liz. Learn to flow and release the need to control. Yeah, woof, that's a big one. I've definitely learned that. Dante's Inferno comes to mind for 2023. Glad to begin the new year with hope and love. Oh, believe it. I believe it. Yeah, I can relate to that. Julie saying can totally relate. Yeah. It's been interesting because this has been a year of lots of just life-changing things for so many people, all of us, right? We're humans. That's part of the experience of being here. And I felt like there was a really powerful opportunity for us this past year to tune in more deeply to our own values in what matters and what doesn't matter. What are the things that we've been telling ourselves that we're supposed to care about or make us successful, or some of those practices that are really external validation experiences, and been given these opportunities to look more deeply within and say, well, what's going to rejuvenate me from the inside out? How does that define my success? How is that an opportunity for me to go deeper into my own healing experience? And so that has definitely been a theme for me. If you can relate to that, send me some hearts. I'd love to know if that's an experience you had this year. I'm seeing lots of hearts coming through. Awesome. Michelle saying, be me. I love that. That is, you're in the right place, because today we are going deeper into permission to be human, giving ourselves permission to be human. And so this practice is something that I've been doing here live on Insight Timer 3 years. This is my third new year since Insight Timer became something here with the lives, with the live options. That's when I first started. And it has been such a gift to connect with so many of you from all over the world. I wonder, is anybody here who was a part of the Permission to be Human New Year's Challenge when I first started a couple years ago? I would love to know. I see some familiar icons, and I'm like, I wonder if anybody was here with me then. Yes, James. James is my partner, so he was. He gives me an extra boost. He's my hype man when it comes to these things. Yes, Serena, I thought that was you when I saw your icon. You absolutely were. You gave me such great feedback in my process of cultivating these practices and making them the best that they can be. So thank you for that. It's so I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you in here, so it's wonderful to be back with you. I would love to know, what are you leaving in 2003? What are you going to leave behind? What do you want to let go of? What do you want to release? Because we're going to do a practice around that today. We're going to be letting go of. Yeah, self-doubt. I can totally relate to that, Chantel. Sickness, Beatrice, yeah. That's a tough one, especially if it's a sickness that's impacting our ability to function. Yeah. Self-limiting beliefs, big ones. Inner critic, yes. Others' need at the cost of mine. Yeah. That's so, so, so powerful. I'm going to leave behind you doubting my own power. Or second guessing my own power. Or trying to outsource my own power. Right? Remembering that it comes from within. Yeah. So I'm seeing expectations, striving, letting go of avoidance and hesitation. Yeah. Imbalance. There's too much to list. Passivity. Yeah. Yeah, and so if there feels like there's a lot of things that you want to let go of, that's beautiful. And perhaps for this practice, depending on what's going to serve you most, maybe you're the kind of person who really wants to go one by one. Or maybe what's going to serve you best is to just say, I'm letting go of anything that doesn't serve me, anything that is not for my highest and greatest good, anything that is keeping me from being my most brilliant light, right? You decide in this practice today how deep you want to go versus in specific details versus what I just said is very deep too. It's just looking at it from a different perspective. So for today's practice, we are going to invest some time in connecting with what you want to leave behind in 2023, and then what it is you want to take with you or what you want to create in 2024. And then I'm going to go through the Permission to Be Human Pledge, which is a series of statements that are promises to yourself on giving yourself more permission to be human, how you can have more compassion, some more kindness, and some more self-care in your life. And we'll see how that can relate to what it is you want to nurture more of in your life this year moving forward. I'm seeing so many beautiful comments here in the chat. Oh yes, one of mine is giving away my power to people, running to people for answers to tell me what to do. Yeah, girl, I'm like this. That was last year. It was last 2 years, really. Was thinking I didn't have the answers and that I needed to outsource my power. And I learned in a very painful way that was not how it works. We can certainly get support and guidance, but ultimately it always comes from within ourselves. So that power brewing inside. Nikki, great to be with you here. Happy New Year to you too, my friend. All right, so let's get ourselves started into this practice. Yeah, you are not the only one. Trust me. This is it's a human experience. It's a human experience that we want to find an easy button. And sometimes it seems so realistic to outsource our power, right? It seems like the right thing to do. It seems like it makes the most sense. But that is when we are trapped in our minds and not fully engaging with our heart and our body and our spirit in a process, right? Of trusting ourselves, the information and the wisdom that we have inside of us that's always there for us to access. So you are not alone. And I'd be happy to talk more about that when we complete the practice. Because once we're done, the guided piece, I'll stick around for anybody who wants to share or has questions or would like any real-time support and coaching. This is a really powerful practice, and so I want you to take advantage of everything that's going to serve you best today. And that is the kind of thing that's like, if that means that you are walking around and picking up things around the house while this is going on, or you're in the car driving, please don't close your eyes. Or if you're fully in a place where you can surrender completely to the practice, whatever that means, meet yourself where you are right now and just be grateful for this opportunity to reflect and be in global community together on this new year. So meet yourself where you are, not where you want to be. That's one of our promises in Permission to Be Human. So with that, let's go ahead, and if you are seated, uncross your legs and arms if they're crossed, rolling your neck, your shoulders, your wrists, your ankles. Maybe even giving yourself a little bit of a twist Just letting your body know, like, hey, we're here, listening. And when you feel ready, you can come to stillness, either gazing down or closing your eyes, and making a choice if you want to have your palms placed down for grounding your energy or your palms up to receive energy. And begin to elongate your breath, breathing in and out of your nose as long as that passage is clear. Sending your breath down to your belly, feeling your belly expand and contract. And just noticing how the body takes care of this with ease and grace. Breathing is something you don't even have to think about. What a gift to be present with your breath in this moment. I invite you now to notice your nostrils and the hairs moving ever so slightly in your nose. Perhaps you can even notice the difference in the temperature of the air as it enters and exits your nostrils. Now I invite you to notice whatever sound you can hear that's the furthest away from you. Now whatever sound you can hear that's the closest to you. Perhaps it's your own breath or your own heartbeat. And on your next inhale, I invite you to repeat to yourself, I breathe in peace. And on your exhale, I breathe out stress. I breathe in peace. I breathe out stress. Now, beginning at the top of your head, let's take a light body scan, slowly noticing anywhere you can soften, anywhere you can release. Perhaps it's some tension in your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, your neck. Breathing in peace, breathing out stress. Softening wherever your body would like to release. Moving down through your shoulders, your arms, your torso. Just noticing where you can make an adjustment that would feel good. Letting your body know that you hear what they have to say and you're listening. Moving now down to your seat, your legs, all the way to your feet. Softening and releasing, allowing yourself to just be here now. And on your next inhale, I invite you to bring your hand to your heart space, connecting with the pulse of your heart, whether that be directly over on your chest or through your wrist or neckline, wherever you can just feel your heart beating the best. Now tuning in to whatever you can notice. Can you notice the pace? How slowly or quickly your heart may be beating? You notice the sound, how faint or loud. Perhaps you can just notice the sensation of what it feels like to be connected to your heartbeat, kissing your hands through your skin. This heart that beats just for you. And I invite you now to tune into your heart and ask your heart, what is it that is in your highest and greatest good to leave behind in 2023? And now taking a big breath here. Really feeling yourself releasing what it is you want to release on your out breath. Energetically feeling it leave your body, moving its way out. Knowing it had its role and its purpose, and now you can consciously choose to not give it as much space in your life moving forward, to replace it with love and healing. Another big breath. And now I ask you to once again return to your heart, asking your heart what it is that you want to take with you into the new year. What is it that would serve you? Whether it's something that you had that you'll carry forward, or it's something new that you're going to create. Just notice what comes up for you. And once you have that response, I invite you to take a big breath in, really feeling like you're breathing that into your system, really breathing in that possibility as we step into this new year. And on your exhale, releasing anything that may be holding you back from fully manifesting that desire. And you can choose if you'd like to continue to connect with your heart or release your hands. But I invite you now to bring a slight smile to your face in gratitude and lightness, in recognizing what a gift it is to reflect on the choices you get to make as we step into a new year, and the gifts in all of the experiences that helped us to become more of who we are today. For the final piece of our practice, I will recite each line from the Permission to Be Human pledge, and I invite you to notice which of these promises would serve you most in this new year. Which might you want to take with you along with what came up for you a moment earlier? What would serve you in making that a reality by being compassionate and loving and kind and not forceful or judgmental in the process of that desire for yourself? So simply notice what you think would serve you most and take it with you into the new year. Let's take another big breath here. And let's begin. I promise to honor what makes me perfectly imperfect. promise to meet myself where I am, not where I want to be. I promise to suspend judgment and ignite compassion. I promise to set healthy boundaries to protect my energy. I promise to prioritize my well-being by embodying my values. And in doing so, I promise to give myself and others permission to be human. Let's invest in another big breath here, really pulling in everything it is you want to take with you into the new year, holding your breath up at the top as long as you're able, and then a big exhale out with anything it is that you want to leave behind. And once again, let's connect with our hearts, bowing your head ever so slightly towards this ruler of love and light in your life. And just investing a moment here to have gratitude to yourself, to your courageous heart for carrying you through everything that you experienced up until this point. All of the milestones that made you come filled with joy and those that drained you with sorrow, knowing that they each served you in becoming more you right here, right now, having gratitude for choosing to show up for yourself, for giving yourself permission to be human, and for choosing to step into the new year as someone with intention. Intention to create a life of your desires, not someone else's. A life of impact, and not of making yourself smaller. What a gift to choose to be together in this community here today as we step forward into more of ourselves in 2024. One more big breath here. When you feel ready, you can slowly wiggle your fingers, your toes, flutter your eyes open, and come back to being in this space and community with our eyes open at your own pace and whatever would serve you. And thank you so much for your donation. It means so much to me. It's a beautiful exchange of energy and gives me wonderful feedback on this practice today. So thank you, Julie. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for choosing to invest in your time and energy with me here today. I would love to hear from you in the chat. What came up for you in that practice? How are you feeling now? Are you ready to give yourself more permission to be human in this new year? Is there anything that you felt stuck with that you'd like to bring forward that would be helpful to get some support with in coaching? Awesome, William and James. I love that. Feeling glorious is a wonderful thing. These hearts are making my heart feel so full. Oh, thank you, Liz, for your donation. And C, you're very welcome. I would love to know, how are you feeling now? One word. Are you ready to give yourself more permission to be human? Are you ready to honor what makes you perfectly imperfect? To suspend judgment and ignite compassion, to set healthy boundaries, to protect your energy, to prioritize your well-being by embodying your values. These are the ways we give ourselves permission to be human. You're welcome, Janelle. Carrie's saying open, grounded, wonderful, wonderful. I am a coach outside of this work, and so if anybody has something that came up for them that they'd like some coaching with, please know that we can use this time here for that. Oh yes, Nimble, it is. This is my book, Permission to be Human, The Conscious Leader's Guide to Creating a Values-Driven Culture, and this practice, the Permission to be Human pledge, is in the introduction of the book. So thank you for asking. Yeah, that's what this practice is based on. Feeling the need to be more bold in my life. I love that. Thanks, Margaret. And one of the things that I wanted to add to the practice today, which I have not done before, which kind of blew my mind, because is anybody an Oracle card fan here? Oracle decks? I keep a lot of decks. I use a lot of decks. If you're an Oracle card fan, let me know. When I wrote my book, Permission to be Human, all right, cool, I've got some Oracle deck folks in the room. When I wrote my book, I really love decks of cards that accompany those kinds of books that you can create more wisdom for yourself in that experience. And so I have this beautiful deck that I have never used in one of these practices, and you can see it. I connected to the different elements and different aspects. These decks are actually not for sale. I wound up doing a very small batch of them, and it just didn't make sense for me to do that. But I do have a daily newsletter if anybody would like a daily reminder, and a card show up for you in your inbox, and you can find more information about that on my profile here. But I thought I would pull a card for us and see what comes up, and seeing if we can get a message for the new year. Awesome. Thank you. I'm feeling good, lighter, and weight lifted off of me, letting go of being right, being more humanness. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. Okay, this is the card that I just pulled. I don't know if you all can see this. It says, it's an affirmation, and the affirmation is, I am mindful of what does and does not activate my values. And the reflection is, what might you let go of in order to be in better alignment with your values? I don't know about y'all, but that just makes me feel really giddy, because what was this practice today about? What are we letting go of, right? What are we leaving? In 2023, what are we taking with us? Okay, please reread. Okay, I'll do it a little bit slower. The affirmation is, I am mindful of what does and does not activate my values. Okay, so basically I'm aware of what does and doesn't activate my values. And then the reflection question to take that deeper is, what might you let go of in order to be in better alignment with your values? What might you let go of in order to be in better alignment with your values? Pretty cool. I love that. And the element that is on this card is air, and air is the element of freedom. So how about that? What if this new year, what we did is we invested energy in what is it that we can let go of, so that we can feel more in alignment with our true selves, right? With our values. So that we can feel a sense of freedom as a result of that, right? The element of air reminds us of that. How do you know what your values are? That is a wonderful question. Well, wouldn't you know, I have a course here on Insight Timer called Knowing and Living Your Values. I also have a quiz on my website, corevaluesquiz.com, that will get you a values profile that you take a self-assessment, and in a few minutes you'll get a values profile emailed to you to give you more information on a starting point what your values are. But the easiest way for you to know what your values are, if you're not taking a quiz or looking at a list or something like that, is to pay attention to where are you getting energy and where are you having energy drained. When you're receiving energy, when you're energized, it's because your values are in action. And when you're drained, it's because your values are absent, or at worst, they're being violated. So you can notice, when is it that I feel the most alive? When is it that I feel the most energy? That is when your values are being activated. So for me, my number one core value is unity with nature. That is because I gain the greatest sense of connection and well-being and inner harmony every time that I am connecting with nature. You might notice, like, I've got like a plant hanging right here in front of me. My husband and I have a tiny home out in the mountains of Idaho that we go out. I'm a horseback rider and trainer, and unity with nature is what gives me the greatest sense of connection. I became a beekeeper this year. All of those things really give me energy when I do it. So it helps me to know what are the values associated to that. So it seems like that is making sense. Carrie, thank you for the beautiful affirmation. You're welcome. Nimble, oh no, I'm drained all the time. I haven't felt much energy lately. What was the website? Okay, so it's probably, I have this quote that you're not drained because you're doing too much. It's because you're doing too little of what activates your values. You're not drained because you're doing too much. It's because you're doing too little of what activates your values. Yeah. The website is corevaluesquiz.com. Corevaluesquiz.com. And you can get that there. It's true. The whole, when do you feel the most alive? It's interesting. There's been, for a while, for probably like the last 10 years, I feel like there's been a big, heavy push on finding your purpose, right? And getting energy from living in alignment with your purpose. And that can create a lot of pressure on people. And they think there's this one purpose, like, to be a writer or to be an amazing mom, right? Whatever it is that creates this feeling of purpose, and that we're supposed to find this purpose, and then we'll know exactly that we're living it, and life will be as it's meant to be. And it creates this really big barrier for a lot of people, making them feel like something's wrong with them if they don't know what that is, or if it's not abundantly clear. So one of the things that I love to remind us all, including myself, is that our purpose is to activate our values every day. And every time that you are activating your values, you are living out your purpose. Because your unique set of values, your unique blueprint of who you are through the lens of your values, is what makes you, you. It's what gives you the greatest gifts that no one else can give, because you have your own, just like our fingertips, right? All our fingerprints, right, are so unique. So are our core values and the way that we are made up. And so the more that you can honor that uniqueness, that beauty of who you are, those experiences that shaped your lens for better and for worse, you are living in alignment with your purpose. So every time I go out in nature, I am living in my purpose. How cool is that? We can start to recognize that it is the little things that are the big things, and the big things sure do matter too. But it's in the everyday choosing to be in alignment with our values that we can become a vessel of alignment, of clarity, of well-being, and we can attract what we are. So we can create this incredible channel of manifesting our greatest desires because we are authentically in alignment. with ourselves. And that's what the work that I do. I work with people and organizations in alignment, getting alignment with their values, because when you do that, you have such a ripple effect of what happens with your health, your well-being, your financial abundance, your connections, the things that are coming your way that you had no idea were even a possibility. It's pretty amazing when you choose to stay in alignment with your values versus being a victim of thinking you have to do it how everybody else says, or for the approval or praise or love from somebody else. When you start to only look to the approval, praise, and love of yourself, that's when you become this supercharged version of the greatest possibility for yourself, which I think is pretty darn awesome. And it is not the kind of thing that most people do. Ooh, great question. That's not selfish. Let me actually go up because I saw Patricia say that again. You're not drained. The quote is, you're not drained because you're doing too much. You're drained because you're doing too little of what aligns with your values. So you're not drained because you're doing too much. You're drained because you're doing too little of what aligns with your values. All right, so that's not selfish. I love this question. When we operate from a energy of being drained, from a place of scarcity, lack, fear, from a place of wanting approval from others, from a place of doing things that are not, the greatest and highest good for ourselves, right? But putting ourselves in the very back seat, last one to get cared for. We are not serving anybody in that process. We may be checking off boxes and doing things that make other people think, like, oh, that's the right thing to do, and I'm a good person because I'm doing what's the right thing to do. But what happens is that we are continuing to create a culture that is of expectation and judgment versus a culture of love and authenticity. So when we do this work with ourselves, what we do is we show everybody else around us that it's possible too. When I first started doing values work and alignment work in my own life, it was not popular for my family. They weren't that thrilled about it because I stopped doing a lot of things that I used to do just because I was supposed to. I made really big, dramatic shifts in my life that weren't to the advantage of others and disadvantage of myself anymore. And so it took a little bit of time of recalibration of boundaries and expectations and what I was and wasn't willing to engage and invest my energy in. And over time of learning, okay, and now I understand how to engage because Mary Beth's been so clear with her boundaries. Now they're setting amazing boundaries. They're asking for what they want. They're saying that they can make choices. They're realizing they don't have to do what they have been doing all the time because other people expected them to. So it creates a ripple effect. Let's be real. Not everybody is going to take it that way, right? Like some people are just going to be pissed and not like that. But for the ones that you want to keep and nurture and connect with and have as a part of your experience, it's actually helping them. It's showing them what's possible. I had a really big year this year, and it was through the boundaries that I set, first with myself, and then with those around me, that I made it through. And selfish gets a bad rap, right? Because it's actually important to put yourself first when it comes to your well-being. That matters the most. Then we can show others it's possible for them to do that too. Blossom, I need to rewrite my values. Can you touch on that? Help me understand what rewrite your values means. Does that mean that you want to revisit your values and see how you want to define them for this year moving forward? Or I'm curious what you mean by rewrite. Is it that you want different values and that feels like it would be meaningful to you to make some new choices? I'm happy to go deeper into it once I have a better understanding of what you mean by rewrite your values. But I will say this as a general, without having the specifics. Unlike some things, values are not a set it and forget it type of thing. There are certain values in your life that will live with you for your entire life, this lifetime, right? That were just always a part of you, right? That was always something that, maybe adventure. Maybe you were always an adventurous kid and now you're a super adventurous adult, and like that has just always been a part of you and there's no questioning it. So there may be some values that are like that. But when we have major life experiences, often our values change. They change. So people think, oh, I have the same values like forever. It's like, no, they can often change. And those usually happen when you have milestone moments. So I used to be somebody who said that spirituality didn't resonate with me. And now connecting with my spirit is one of the most important things in my life, right? It's one of my greatest compasses for well-being and inner harmony. And that's because I had a really, really powerful life experience that connected to me to spirituality in a way that I didn't know existed. And then it was no turning back. I often call these moments where you walk in as one person and you leave as someone else. And so in those moments, your values are often rewritten. All right, so I'm going to go back to some of these questions. Robbie's saying, my values have morphed as I go through life. Exactly. Often things change when you have like a death or a birth. Maybe a significant experience in your growth journey. Maybe it's a moving, right? There's lots of different things that happen that impact our values. Blossom saying, get clear on them so I can refer to them in situations, refresh, set them, think about them, and write them down. Yeah, so those are great questions. So Blossom, I would highly encourage you to join my course here on Insight Timer called Knowing and Living Your Values. It's a 10-day course, 15 minutes a day, and we literally go step by step through that process on how to uncover them, define them, create value promises for them so that you have an understanding of like what can you actually do that can you commit to on your values, and how can you use them as compass and guardrails. I'd be happy to touch on it a little bit more, but I think given what you're looking for, that's going to really serve you because it's going to take you into a much deeper place with the values work. I see this as part of cultivating a sense of self as someone with complex trauma. Yes, Blossom, it really is. And I'll tell you that I come from very complex trauma too, a very intense trauma history. And so the trauma is very much a part of what informed my values and who I am today. And so I touch on that in the course as well, and that what I have found personally to be so rewarding, not only with myself but with my clients that I work with doing this, together, is feeling like you can pull the wisdom from your wounds and those trauma experiences and find and really honor where your values were cultivated in those experiences that wouldn't have been cultivated otherwise, right? Even though like nobody ever wishes for trauma, nobody ever hopes for, these really challenging experiences, but we can go back and honor and see where they shaped our values and then create more power for ourselves in that process. Yeah, PTSD to be specific, I'm also coaching that, and that does my own inner practice work daily. Wonderful. I'm so glad. It's so important, right? We need this. And so Blossom, as a coach, I think you'd really appreciate particularly going through the core values course because it'll give you a framework that you could use with your own clients and not only for yourself, right? But being able to connect and support some more of understanding the power of our values in that way. So thank you for asking. All right, Serena, can you talk more about outsourcing your power? Sure can. What did you want to know? Do you want to know just about outsourcing your power in general and how to bring your power back, or how I was outsourcing my power? If there's anything specific, let me know. I'll start talking more generally until I hear from you. But I'd say that for me, outsourcing my power was really based on a belief system that I didn't have what I needed inside of me. It was the kind of thing that I wound up investing large sums of time and money and energy into programs and coaches and gurus and all of these things that I thought would have the answer for me because they'd done it and they are further evolved than I am in these processes. And I needed to pay attention to someone else to tell me what had to happen in order to get to the next place of where I wanted to be. And here I am 2 years later and learned that it always comes from within first. Because it was an experience of thinking, I could just step away, outsource my power, have somebody else take over when it comes to these aspects of my life. I can, not even have to be involved. It can just go in motion without having to invest my authentic power. And in that process, I wound up not even being myself. I was just following things that I knew deep down intuitively weren't the right thing for me, but it was like, well, they said they did this and this was working for them, so I guess I ought to give it a shot, and I guess I ought to hang in there, and I guess I ought to, when deep down I knew that it wasn't the answer. I was just looking for somebody else to give me solutions and answers, and I basically handed my power over to them and said, hey, here, can you figure all this out for me, because I need you and I can't do this without you. And now being in a place of recognizing whoa, as soon as I stopped being a victim of all of these people and programs and things that I had invested in to outsource my power, to see how I could, have somebody else show me the way, I learned that when I started to take it back, to trust myself, to make choices that were against what I was being told was the norm, or what I should do, or was the right way, but I really just said, nope, just gonna tune into my heart now. Wouldn't you know, all of this flow and shift in energy came with ease and grace. And what I decided was that I was going to prioritize my healing as the number one most important thing, and that is how I got my power back. I let go of other metrics of success other than how am I today? And what can I choose that's going to aid in my healing so that I can feel the power back from within myself. Serena, I'm so glad this is resonating with you. Yeah, it's really amazing. So in this past year, I mentioned I have a lot of family trauma, and my sister sued me and my husband and our businesses for $100 million, and it brought up so much trauma from the past, so much trauma that I had thought I had healed and I had done the work on, and I had, been in a place where I could handle that, and I was going to be okay. And it really pulled me deep into a deep, dark place. And while I was there, I was judging myself for my business success and, my health, what was going on with my health, and was just like a vortex of victimhood, suffering, and judgment. And I was just wanting somebody else to make it easier for me. If I can bring this other person on. Can't they just give me the answers? I don't have the energy to figure it out myself. And it was through slowing down, releasing old stories, and choosing to really heal. Not like, okay, I feel all right today, but let me go into those caves and see where there were all of these holes and mold and toxins in there in myself that I didn't even realize because I had sealed them up. And I could go in with tonic and love and compassion and say, okay, I've gotten to the root of this now, and I'm grateful for that opportunity because now I can return to my power, return to myself in that way. So, oh yeah. I'm seeing you're saying that with this health coach and stepping away from the protocol, and it's been hard. Yeah, you got to keep trusting yourself and your body, and I know it can be really hard to do that. But from what I know of you from our time in these practices, you're very mindful and in tune with your needs. So I'm glad you're listening. Nimble saying, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm resonating so hard with you, Mary Beth. Oh, there's scary bears in my cave. Yeah. And sometimes you can get stuck in those caves. And so the gift is to find the openings where the light's coming in and to do what you can do to mend and be well in your own journey to alignment. And so I'm really grateful we got to do some of that work together today. I thank you for all of your questions and your comments here. It's always a gift to connect here on this platform, and particularly on this New Year's Day, and feeling like there's so much possibility. You know, there's a wonderful Maya Angelou quote, which is, to this day is beautiful. I've never seen it before. And I thought to myself, you know, this year is beautiful. I haven't seen this one before. And we can move forward with that energy, giving ourselves permission to be human along the way. If we wind up picking something up that we wanted to leave behind in 2023, we can be compassionate to ourselves, to have loving kindness to ourselves, to not judge ourselves for that, but just say, oh, okay, I have permission to be human. Now I'm going to put it back down. I'm going to make another choice. And how you can move forward with great intention of what it is that you wanted to bring into the new year. So keep giving yourself permission to be human, my friends. As I mentioned, I have a course here called Knowing and Living Your Values. I do lives usually once or twice a month, so you can follow me as a teacher if you want to know when you can join me again live. But otherwise, I have loads and loads of guided practices here on Insight Timer as well. So you are welcome to listen to me anytime that would serve you. And I thank you so much for joining me here today, and I wish you a very happy new year. I look forward to more time together in 2024. Bye-bye.